Hello children, today we are going to read a poem, Negro Mother, written by Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes, whose original name was James Mercer Langston Hughes, was born on 1st February 1901 and died on May 22, 1967. He was a famous American poet, novelist, social activist, fighting for the rights of African Americans. He wrote a popular column for the weekly newspaper Chicago Defender. Some of his famous works include Not Without Laughter, The Way of White Folks, the collected poem of Langston Hughes, and the Weary Blues. Before I start the poem, I would like to tell you that the voice in the poem is that of the black mother. Through the ages, in the opening line, the narrator addresses her children. The Negro mother depicts the capture and hardship of black slaves and speaks of the will to endure that kept them going. The voice of the Negro mother urges the children to transform the future so that they may live in dignity and freedom from white oppression. Now the poem goes like this. Children, I come back today to tell you a story of the long dark way that I had to climb, that I had to know, in order that the race might live and grow. Look at my face, dark as the night, yet shining like the sun with love's true light. I am the dark girl who crossed the Red Sea, carrying in my body the seed of the free. I am the woman who worked in the field, bringing the cotton and the corn to yield. I am the one who labored as a slave, beaten and mistreated for the work I gave. Children sold away from me, husbands sold too. No safety, no love, no respect was I due. 300 years in the deepest south, but God put a song and a prayer in my mouth. God put a dream like steel in my soul. Now through my children I am reaching the goal. Oh, my dark children, may my dreams and my prayers impel you forever up the great stairs. For I will be with you till no white brother dares keep down the children of the Negro mother. The summary of the poem goes like this. Children, I come back today to tell you a story of the long dark way till the seed of the free. The speaker immediately sets the tone for the rest of the poem, which you can read in full here. The reader knows that she is going to take them way back and tell them a story from times past. The rhyme scheme AABB creates the rhythm that causes the readers to feel almost as if the speaker is reading a nursery rhyme to them. However, the words reveal that this will not be nursery rhyme material but the story of the long dark way. The speaker reveals that this is not a pleasant story, but one that needs to be told all the same. These lines gives the readers the image of the one speaking. The picture of a face dark as the night gives the first image of the speaker. Then it would seem that her face shines with the sweat of her work. But it is not only her sweat that makes her face shine. It is the joy and the love in her heart that shines through in her face like love's true light. In these lines, the speaker compares herself to the Hebrew slaves in Egypt. In the book of Exodus, in the Old Testament, the Egyptians had held the Hebrew people in slavery for generations until God called Moses to perform miraculous signs and wonders, sending plague on the Egyptian people until they finally agreed to let the Hebrew people go free. At this point, God leads them to the Red Sea, and when the Egyptian army is coming upon them, the people see no way of escape until God parts the sea and allows the Hebrew people to walk through on dry land. The speaker identifies with the Hebrew people. She claims that she has crossed her own Red Sea. Then she let us know that she crossed that sea carrying the life of another human being. That unborn child she calls the seed of the free. Second stanza, I am the woman who worked in the field till no respect was I due. The summary of these lines goes like this. In few simple lines, she speaks of the most horrors of the slavery. Though she labored day in and day out, she was only beaten and mistreated. But that is not the worst of it. She had her own children sold away from her, and her husband too. This is the most heartbreaking truth about American slavery, that families were torn apart, that mothers mourned the loss of their children, and that marriages were broken. This line stands alone and it speaks volumes. She claims that she was due no safety, no love, and no respect. This is how she was seen in eyes of the slave owners of the South. She was not thought worthy of basic human rights. Here she claims that she represents every slave woman. She alludes again to the book of Exodus and she names 300 years as her time spent in the deepest South. But she has found hope during those years of slavery, just as the Hebrew people found hope in God, though they were bound by Egyptians. She claims, go put a song and prayer in my mouth. Somehow in the midst of her the most severe of suffering she is able to sing. And the summary of these lines: God put a dream like steel in my soul. This dream that is in her soul is not her own dream. She believes that God himself put the dream there in her soul. The dream is like steel because no amount of persecution or oppression could move it. There is a sudden shift in the story. She was speaking of her days of slavery, but now she seems to be on the verge of reaching the goal. This also gives the reader the notion that while she is working as a slave, she is also working for her freedom. The speaker then must somehow be able to work toward the freedom of the African American people. After telling the readers that she also must reach her goal, she goes back to descriptions of her years of slavery and reminds them that she did not have anything, not even the slightest bit of education. She could not read or write. She shed many tears and she continued to press on through the lonely years. Here she describes why she pressed on and why she continued to work. She knew that the freedom of the black slaves was on the horizon, and carrying a child, she knew that she had to see it through. She knew that she had to see it so that one day she might be able to watch her child enjoy the freedom. This was the dream that nothing could smother, that one day the child growing within her would have freedom. The literary devices in the poem are like this. Similes. Yet shining like the sun with love's true light, the mother's love is as bright as the sun. Is the simile used here? Look at my face, dark as the night, emphasizes the women's black heritage. Another literary device is imagery. Long dark way gives image of a dark journey. Look at my face, dark as the night. The narrator is a very dark person. So the literary device used here is imagery. Another literary device is alliteration, and the highlighted words you can see in the poem in the above lines. I am the woman who worked in the field brings attention to the fact that she is a woman. Bringing the cotton and the corn to yield emphasize the words cotton and corn. Another literary device is hyperbole. Impel you forever up the great stairs. Black people should always be treated equally and never again as slaves. Repetition is another literary device. No safety, no love, no respect was I due, emphasizing that the Negro mother was not getting any of these forementioned things. Analysis of the poem is like this. Langston Hughes, The Negro Mother. It's a lyrical poem about a Negro mother who is addressing to her sons about her struggles in her past life. The poem displays a passionate journey of a woman striving for the rights and equality of the African American people as she elaborates her emotions to show the hardship she has been through. In addition to her past experience, the narrator uses her struggle as a reminder for her son about the struggles herself and their ancestors have gone through in order to encourage them to continue their fight. In the poem, the poet uses of the narrator's diction, oxymoron and metaphor to portray the theme of how African Americans should always strive for their rights and equality in society. Thank you.